with success, of course, I'd want to bring a band that's just going to be good every time.
Is there one artist that you say, well, this is, for example, this is not someone that I'm going to work again with because of this self-destructiveness?
Oh my God, you want me to name names? Woo! Yeah. Well, you know what? He knows it. I can easily say, I mean, my friend Michael Giron, the Swans. I mean, and it's okay because he knows he's a caricature of like insano, extreme. So I'm not even saying anything bad. Hi, Michael. So he's an extreme personality, but of extreme focus. For instance, typical thing with him was when there was situations where he had to like leave the studio to do something, he'd come back all freaked out that he'd actually been out in the sunlight and walked a few blocks because it completely broke up his chemistry and his creative flow, and he wasn't going to be able to create again during the day or something like that. And he'd be angry that he went out, you know, that sort of thing. Completely different from me, because I would tell him, you know what, basically, and like say he lived in Manhattan and would want to like sleep at the studio because it was too distracting to take the train back and forth. So my attitude about recording is actually I need the recording session to stop and have a finite. I stop now and I'm going to live a little and then I'm going to come back and pick up again. I don't want this continuity. So for instance, that sort of intensity, I can't deal with, and that, you know, he knows he's like that. Okay. But you know what I want to tell you though? That's very 80s, by the way. And that's why I'm a little turned off, because in the 80s, that's how people thought you had to make records. And like Fetus, another guy that's on my list there, Fetus was a little like that too. Like the whole idea, if you didn't put your blood, sweat, and tears into the recording process, you had nothing, basically, that was the impression. So unless you killed yourself, mixed it for 16 hours, redid the vocals 5 times, and rewrote the lyrics a couple of times, and completely like had to call an ambulance for yourself a couple of times. Unless you did that, unless you were like, you know, tacked up to the cross to do, I mean, and on that extreme, because that's how the 80s were, like everything, at least in terms of like the stuff I was doing, is that everything had to be visceral, or else you were just screwing around, you know, unless you really were like putting yourself on the edge there. So that was very 80s. That's how really, just generally, even for very commercial records, the whole idea of overworking, having the band do the take 20 times, 30 times, really paying for it with your life. Unless you did that, they figured you had nothing. I mean, that's even on a professional level. It was only until, and it's a combination of economics as well, it's only until like the 90s where people said, hey, whoa, maybe you can record a record in 2 weeks. You know, maybe you can get things in 1 take. Like that was like, whoa, because it wasn't the 80s. Anyway, sorry I had to go on that tangent. But yeah, that's something I do not want to revisit.
So okay, let's say less producing and more own material then?
Yeah, I'd like to play more live. I mean, it's funny because I always knew that playing live was very satisfying, but now doing more shows in a row and in different contexts, I actually realize how satisfying it is. I mean, the whole idea that and it happens, you know, maybe 1 out of 7 or 8 shows, I walk off and I'm like, what happened? That was just incredible and unique. And it never will happen again like that. And it's just like this incredibly special show, incredible special audience and context and city and venue, all those things lining up for just an amazing experience. Like I never really knew that it could be quite like that from the point of view of the artist, that you could have these like unexpected, spontaneous, magical things. I thought, honestly, I did think it would probably be a little more boring. At least it's not boring with me, which is, you know, every show being the same and stuff. Hopefully it'll never go there, because then I'll be having the same discussion about how I don't want to like play live anymore. At the moment it has that. And part of it is also because I'm doing things out of convenience, which is using people, like you notice I came here by myself. I'm using a keyboard player in Hamburg who I know. I'm using a bass player in Amsterdam, who I know. You know, last month when I was here in Europe, I used Brian Viglione from the Dresden Dolls because he happened to be in Europe, and I was like, "Oh, you're going to be in Europe? Let me see if I can hook up some shows," and I did. You know, so out of convenience, you know, there's a drummer that I know that I use sometimes on the West Coast of the United States. So basically, different musicians. That's actually what turned out to be a really good formula for me. People that know my material, and it's always shifting the contexts a little bit. I almost am scared if with success I would have to give that up, because with success, of course, I'd want to bring a band that's just going to be good every time. And now there's a lot of risk. Sometimes it works amazingly, and sometimes, well, who knows? So, but that's because I'm out of necessity trying a lot of different contexts.
To conclude, I think it has to stay this way.
Oh, this way of...
No, this way of playing live, recording, for you it's good now.
Right now, it seems good. I mean, I feel I'm doing exactly what I should be doing. Like, exactly.